Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to an introduction to digital analytics with myself, Sarah, on behalf of Sparkline. Today, we're going to be delving into the MarTech, so the marketing technology landscape, and looking at what are the current skills in demand for this sector. So thank you very much for AF4C for inviting us to be part of the conference. We're hugely excited to be here and really proud to be part of the whole initiative and the whole event. So welcome. I hope you enjoyed today's session as part of Employment Reimagined. Yeah, just a very warm welcome from myself and Sparkline. So let's just delve in, and I'll start with introducing myself in a little bit more detail. My name's Sarah. I'm the HR and education lead here at Sparkline, and I've got about 15 years experience working in HR and talent acquisition. Been with Sparkline since 2018 and managing the HR function. So looking at developing education programs for our company and leading the internal people and culture agenda for Sparkline, as well as looking at some external learning consultation opportunities with our clients and individual learners across the region. And we also partner, and I also partner with government departments and industry bodies to help to bring customized data-driven learning to the Singapore market. So that's just a little bit about myself. So the three focus areas for today's session, and what we'll be learning a little bit more about, is first off who we are and what we do, and what our team does as a digital analyst. Secondly, we'll be moving into a little bit more around the skills gap and the current demand for these types of skills, and looking at the past year's acceleration, the growth of this space in 2021, the shifting MarTech landscape and how that's growing, exploding, some may say, and the hot jobs that have been created through this acceleration. So what opportunities are out there for people like yourselves if you're looking to build skills in this space. Thirdly, we'll be closing with how you can do that, and how to build skills and engage in learning for your own digital acceleration. So first off, who am I? I've already introduced myself. Just introducing a little bit about Sparkline now. So we're a digital data analytics consultancy. We were established in 2013, so about 8 years old now. Singapore HQ, but we work with Fortune 500 companies across APAC, so across the region. And we're looking at developing a scalable approach to digital analytics. So data analysts make up and comprise the bulk of our team, and data analytics is the forefront of what we do, but just a little bit more niche and kind of drilling further into what we do. It's actually looking at digital data, so web analytics. So we'll touch upon where the data is coming from and how that feeds into a digital marketing and digital transformation roadmap for the types of companies that we work with. We also customize the consulting that we do, as well as education, the training programs, and we build in-house technology solutions, which all comprise together to help these businesses to really embark on a road to digital maturity. So building that capability from a skills perspective, building stronger data governance foundations and frameworks, and enabling them to make better business decisions all around. Just some of our clients that we work with here across region. I think this is always interesting to look at as well. I like to point out the diversity of the different brands that we're working with here. Everything from educational institutions to airlines and travel organizations, financial services, banks, insurance companies, and energy companies here, FMCG as well. So it's hugely diverse, makes it very exciting, and keeps everybody on our team, very, very much on their toes in terms of that client consultation, client management piece, but also does show that so many different types of industries, organizations, companies globally are digitizing, are moving very quickly or needing to move quickly with their whole digital transformation digital transformation roadmap, I guess you would call it, in strategy. And if they haven't done so, they will be doing so. And even more post COVID, I know we're pretty much still within that period at the moment, unfortunately, so maybe not so much post, but what has really become apparent since the beginning of 2020 last year is the need to accelerate the digitization for many brands, and those that didn't or hadn't done so weren't as able or agile to do so, unfortunately, really suffering and really struggling, finding that a huge challenge. But let's move on to just looking a little bit more around the training part of our business, as we're looking at more kind of skills building and employability for this session. We've worked with many different brands and many different types of angles and approaches to helping them upskill, from thought leadership through to training days where workshops and day-long training sessions will go in and help to upskill a range of different areas, from product to a bit more strategic, to looking at mobile performance labs and application performance for various different types of e-commerce brands or brands that are looking to grow in that space, through to building academies and programs with industry partners, government organizations, industry bodies, to help to really upskill and build that talent from within. Google being one of our biggest partners there. So we've worked with people from heads of industry to MD of Google for Southeast Asia, and really kind of partnering with brands like those to ensure that the upskilling from the digital, from the data analytics side is really at the forefront of the strategy for many of these different types of brands that we work with. So moving on, we'll look a bit more into what we actually do as digital analysts, or what the team that I work with does. It's a data analyst role, and this is very much a data-driven job, but just drilling a little bit more into what actually is the digital analytics role and space. I like this quote that we found from Gartner. I think it really helps to encapsulate why there is such a shift and such a growth in terms of this type of job and this type of role. The transformation towards digital and algorithmic business continues, which we'll be doing so for many years to come. This brings about new roles. So new roles blending IT and business functions will start to emerge, have started to emerge, of course. And I think this just re-explains the role of a digital analyst quite nicely, blending IT and blending a business function role. And we'll just delve into exactly why that might be. So here we've just got a typical cycle or typical visualization of the core skills of a data analyst. So if you're kind of thinking a bit more around, well, what does actually a data analyst do? What would be the core parts of their whole journey, and some of the tools in which they would be I guess expected to have some depth in, depending on what kind of focus they have. Everything there you see from data visualization, which is your dashboards, your graph creation, etc. Cleansing the data, so gathering the data that a company has and really getting that to a good position, so the stakeholders and the business can understand the data a lot easier. Things like R, Python, SQL, they're the tools. So you've kind of got data visualization, data cleansing, and the kind of methodology and the tasks that a data analyst would go through, right through to building out those types of the skills in those tools, as they're very prevalently used for things like data cleaning and gathering. Machine learning, not part of every data analyst role, but definitely something that's really fast emerging and is being adopted more and more, depending on what type of industry you're in. Excel skills, yeah, I guess that's something that's going to be kind of part and parcel and quite kind of standard for many roles, I guess. But especially if you're kind of manipulating and working with volume data. Critical thinking and communication, just bringing those two out because they are also a very, a very critical part of an analyst's role, particularly if you think about the communication and data visualization, couple those together, being able to produce insights from your data and tell a really compelling story with your data to your stakeholders is a really huge part of an analyst's role. And as we move into looking a bit more specifically into digital and digital marketing analysis, you can slowly, or quite quickly, I guess, start to understand why that would be so important. So just showing the core mix here of probably some more of the hard skills, but certainly those softer skills that are coming out there: critical thinking, communication, presentation, and how you actually present that data to the stakeholders involved. The core focus areas of a digital data analyst, so if you're kind of honing a little bit more into the expectations, the KPIs, the metrics, what exactly is a digital data analyst working on and producing in terms of deliverables. So marketing analytics, again, this is the space that we specialize in at Sparkline, working with marketing teams, working with stakeholders that work across digital marketing, more so digital marketing, and helping to do things like looking into reporting intelligence. So how are they actually producing their reports, their business reports, their BI reports at the moment, looking at things like pricing strategy, are products priced effectively, are consumers actually purchasing, converting, and actually actually buying these products if it's e-commerce particularly, obviously. Looking at product design, looking at kind of ways in which they are actually reaching their consumers. Pre and post campaign strategy is quite a core part, obviously understanding, and that comes in with marketing ROI, because if you are investing a certain amount of your budget to these campaigns, these marketing campaigns, you need to understand what's working, what is actually gaining more return on, so ROI, return on investment for these companies. Looking at that strategy, what's your pre and post campaign strategy and pre and post campaign analytics. So what worked, what didn't, what sold, what didn't, what gained more engagement, and where people are dropping off. Are they coming to your website, to your mobile app? Are they engaging with your brand but not necessarily converting into a customer? There's a huge, there's a lot more detail we can go into in terms of this, and it does get quite complex, as we'll soon see in terms of when we look at the data sources. But for now, I think this just nicely comprises some of the core deliverables, types of projects, and types of problems that a digital data analyst might be solving and supporting a marketing team with. This slide probably pretty daunting in terms of looking at those numbers there, but I just pulled this out from a study from Raconteur. It was also some stats there from WeForum. They did this in collaboration, but in looking at statistics from 2019, and the study was done last year, and just looking at typically how much digital data is created each day. So as I say, we're looking at marketing analytics. We're looking at the world of a digital data analyst that is looking at consumer engagement and that kind of digital customer. So if you think about ourselves, and as we all are pretty much these days, digital consumers of data, consumers in terms of products and purchasing as well. But if we just look at some of the, and the reason to show this is the data sources for a digital data analyst is obviously all online. So it can come from social media. So looking at social media data, it could be looking at messaging platforms, or search, how many searches are being made on your brand, on your site. But if we just look at the amount of digital data that's created each day here and some of these figures, I think it's just painting a really good solid picture of the sheer volume of data that's created. So this is a little bit more around the why. Why is there such an emergence and explosion of this role, which is a digital data analyst? I mean, 500 million tweets sent per day alone, 5 billion searches made every single day alone, 65 billion WhatsApp messages, 294 billion emails sent, and how much petabytes of data created on Facebook there as well. So it's a huge amount of volume, of interaction, of engagement that's happening every single day online. So consumers are consuming more data than ever, volumes are higher, everything's moving very, very quickly. Opportunity is huge for brands if they can get it right, if they can interact, engage, and convert their customers in an effective fashion as possible, then there's a huge opportunity here. The complexity comes with how do they build the skills within their organization, with their teams, to be able to not just access this data and cleanse it and gather it and get it together and visualize in a nice, attractive, simplified way, but what actually can we derive from that? What can we take from it? What insights can we create? How do we build our strategy off the back of this data? And there's a lot of it. And then we look at the MarTech landscape, so marketing technology landscape in terms of the amount of solutions and tools out there. It's not slowing down. So welcome to the MarTech Landscape of 2020. This is a study from Chief MarTech, and it looked at the growth. So again, from 2019 to 2020, 13.6% growth. That's 615 more tech solutions, so more pieces of MarTech that were created. So across the types of solutions here, in terms of the categories, you've got advertising and promotion, content and experience, social relationships, commerce and sales, data, and then you've got management technology solutions. Data was the fastest growing category by 25.5%. It was up in a year. And we just want to show this just to really understand that from the slide before, it's the sheer volume of digital data being created every single day, how many digital users there are out there and potential consumers. Then for organizations, it's what type of technology, so this is looking kind of more internally, what type of solution, what pieces of tech, what type of data analytics tools do I need to invest in, what type of data visualization, CRM. It's really getting more and more complex as we delve deeper into it. So quite hard for an organization to kind of almost wrap your head around the amount of data that's created, the opportunities out there. I just need to bring in the right piece of tech and the right solution. And then I need to bring in the right skills because I need the right people in the right place to be able to really just to make sense of this all and bring me the insights, the reports, and help me to build that strategy. So I think hopefully I'm starting to paint that picture of the complexity and the opportunity here in terms of what these types of brands can really take from what's out there in market if they're able to capitalize on it effectively. The third part here we're going to be moving on to is the skills gap, so the current demand. We've seen the opportunity, we've seen, look, this is what's out there, this is the opportunities, these are the consumers, this is the amount of data that's created every day, these are the thousands of pieces of MarTech we can invest in, so solutions are out there. Great, okay, so how do I then, you know, where do I go next? And it's obviously building the skills within your organization to be able to be able to capitalize on that and to kind of make sense of everything that's out there. And this is why we train in these areas to help build these skills. So the demand for data analytics skills in Singapore alone is expected to reach about 37 billion by 2022 in Singapore. So there's a huge disparity, there's a huge growth expected, but there's still a huge disparity between the supply and demand. So it's all about bridging that gap. We know the opportunity, we know that there's a huge amount of there's this huge amount of benefit in building these skills and bringing these people into my organization. And then Singapore alone is aiming to train about 2,500 multidisciplinary data analytics professionals. The core industries that will be seeing that growth will be people like urban services, supply chain, consumer retail, healthcare, finance, security, manufacturing, pretty diverse. Again, that's pointing to the client slide that we saw previously in terms of the types of clients that Sparkline works with. It's diverse. It's every industry, every core industry that you can think of within a market, looking to build those skills. And that was a study by My Careers Future. It's not just a Singapore issue, by the way. This is not just a problem here in market where we are, and it's not just a Southeast Asian issue or challenge. This is a global talent shortage, tech talent shortage that we're talking about. So the digital economy will require about 149 million new tech roles by 2025. According to Microsoft, and the three core areas here that will be driving this demand will be cloud, data analytics, and cybersecurity. So this is where we can expect to see the greatest role demand. So in terms of, you know, from a perspective of looking for opportunities and looking for roles out there, and what areas should I be building skills in that's going to drive the most opportunity for yourself as an individual, will be these three core areas within technology. By 2023, about a quarter of all organizations in APAC, excluding Japan, will be implementing strategy for enterprise-wide innovation at scale. So again, this will be driving a huge amount of opportunities within the tech space, within those types of areas that we saw there: cloud analytics, cybersecurity, product development, new tech initiatives and innovation, looking at that kind of how that feeds into their whole wider strategy. And then by 2030, technology sector is going to face a labour skills shortage of about 4.3 million workers. So again, time-wise, that's not that too far into the distant future, and that's a huge, again, a huge disparity and a huge gap that's widening. So Southeast Asia, as we know, is no exception. We've looked at Singapore, another huge market and growing market in our region. Indonesia is the top of the list of countries expected to be most effective if they don't start acting now. So if they don't take action now, putting into preventative measures to close this gap, there's about $21.8 billion US impact that's expected. I mean, it's a huge country, but that is a huge amount. Just pausing there just to take that in. So within the technology, media and telecom sectors, just within the technology, media and telecom sectors. So, you know, just monumental, really, monumental gap, monumental opportunity lost. Again, you know, really kind of looking at that, how much digital data is created every single day, how much potential in terms of reaching your consumers, and what a huge loss if you're not able to take the right measures and act now. So, okay, we found there's the potential, there's the opportunity. We understand if we don't start closing this gap, this is the potential loss. So these should be roles that people are clamoring, I guess, to build skills in. There's lots of opportunities, lots of roles, lots of companies hiring these types of positions at the moment. At Sparkline, we know too well the challenges. You know, we're kind of always looking to grow the team and always trying to keep a pipeline of talent very fresh, and really looking at working on that. The reason why they tend to be very hard roles to fill is, we'll move on to the kind of marriage of what you're looking for. So we'll remember the slide where you're looking at a typical role and focus of a data analyst. And it's not as simple as, you know, taking a SQL or Python course, acing the courses, great, I can go straight into these really in-demand roles within the marketing and digital analytics space, MarTech space. It's not that easy for organizations that have maybe more mature and large data teams, potentially, because you might just be working in a, you know, kind of a large team, and your role's pretty siloed, and you might just be focusing on one small part of that whole wheel, and you can focus on that and do it very, very well. But generally speaking, in an organization like a consultancy, or maybe just kind of growing company, or lots of different companies, to be honest, it's looking at the MarTech experience, the hard skills, and really plus consultative. And then so I'm calling them power skills. I'll explain a bit more as we go along. So market experience, your hard skills plus your power skills, this is the gold dust marriage, as I kind of refer to it, because you're looking at someone who's built tech skills and built their hard skills and spent probably a lot of time and energy doing so. And then you're asking them to be consultative, a great storyteller, have high EI, communication skills have got to be really spot on. They've got to be an innovative thinker, so bringing new ideas to the table. If you think of a data analyst has access to this company's data, at their hands and probably huge volumes of it, they've got a really crucial picture right in front of them of that business, of that brand. So if they're able to marry, you know, their innovative thinking with the data they've been able to mine from these various different tools and bring a bit of creativity, I'd say creativity is a huge part of that as well, and collaboration, and collaborate with that brand and consult with them. That's where this becomes a really powerful and really valuable role to a business. However, these skills, as well as the soft skills, as people might kind of usually refer to them as, they're virtually impossible to automate. They're really hard to quantify and interview as well, actually. Maybe that is done more so by, you know, using examples of your experience, or if you're just fresh out of university, some of the projects you've done through studying, etc. But they're virtually impossible to automate, which means if you develop them yourself or from an organizational point of view, it can just add huge value to your workforce, to your business. And then the hard skills to develop. So this was a study from Northeastern University, and the core 7 skills that a data analyst must have. So we're not saying that you shouldn't be building out the hard skills and focusing on the languages, statistical, programming, etc. Absolutely not. They're your data, that's your toolkit, that's your core toolkit that you need to build out to be able to do the role, of course. Things like SQL, Excel, critical thinking, R or Python, your statistical programming, data visualization, presentation skills, and machine learning. So these would be the 7 top skills to start focusing on and build on a deeper level. And you can do that by, you know, various different types of ways, of courses, of programs. There's a huge amount of content out there for these areas. So moving on to kind of how we as a business have started to try, or have been doing this for some time actually. Some of the relationships are a little bit newer, but we've been trying to solve this problem since day one. And I think that just really became apparent from when the business was set up to building the team and growing the Sparkline team, and the industry moving so quickly and how complex that's becoming very, very quickly. That we are very conscious of the fact that, as well as being consultants, we need to be thought leaders, we need to be excelling on education, training, and continuous learning for our team, of course, people that we bring into the team, as well as our clients, as well as the organizations we work with. If we can level up and build the skills to a certain level, then we are able to do a huge amount more with them and for them as they mature. And then just working with people like Google back in the Square Data Analytics program that we ran with Google and IMDA. We did 6 weeks of training, classroom training. We did a 6-month work placement with them once they had graduated. They were all becoming analysts in companies such as Airbnb, HomeAway, Expedia, Citibank, Zenith. They were all paid for by the government. Our focus was to design the 6-week curriculum from scratch, and going on to really kind of owning that content and curriculum for the future, which has been fantastic for us, which we've now digitized that whole curriculum, and that learning has now been digitized and placed in an online learning program. But yeah, we took every year, this ran for about 4 years, 25 new grads, very varying backgrounds in terms of their studies, and this was an elite program that we created in partnership with Google. So just showing a little bit of our training pedigree here. And then we created a 12-week bootcamp program in partnership with Tessa and IMDA. And that was 2 cohorts that went through a full introduction, very immersive program, an intro to digital analytics. So that was 12 core topics, and we took digital marketing, we took data analytics, so the data science and the digital marketing worlds, bring them together and teach people how to be a digital analyst and all the core areas. And our trainees gain fantastic roles at companies such as Foodpanda, DBS, NTUC and ST Engineering, just to name a few. And that, again, a very immersive, hands-on learning and teaching and training a role, which I think differs to quite a lot of other kind of programs out there. And we're really excited that we've just signed an MOU with NTUC and Tech Talent Assembly for year 2021. So we've got about 9 of our courses currently being listed as UTAPable under an NTUC partnership. So any NTUC members that might be there listening today, have a look and you can see some of the types of courses that you can allot some of your funding and your credits to. But just to show here that we are very passionate about, we understand the opportunity, we understand the complexity. It's so hard to find these skills. We need to build them. This is basically me just showing you that we understand that we need to build these skills from within our market, because they're just not existing at the volume that we need. So let's help to create the supply, because we know how high the demand is. The Digital Data Academy that I mentioned there, we developed that as an online curriculum. So take the learning, take the curriculum, the flow from the work that we did with Google. This is another one that's now endorsed by DAA, which means you do get a certification at the end. It's about 20 hours. It's all online. There's some quizzes, some exercises, and a certification of completion after the 12 core topics. Also, this slide can show you just a little bit around a snapshot of what you would need to know. So, you know, contextual industry background, looking at measuring, so all around that kind of measuring all that data and the different frameworks from gathering the data. Google and Adobe Analytics tend to be 2 prevalent analytics tools and platforms that are used in our industry, which is why we focus on them. And then we'll take you right through from the analytics side to the producing the insights and telling a fantastic story with your data that's very compelling for your stakeholders. So that's our online learning curriculum there. That will take about 20 hours to get through. We've also broken it up into modular learning, so very aware that people might just want to take certain components out of that longer curriculum. We also teach live workshops. So what we've done is understand that there's different tools, different platforms. This MarTech solution landscape that we saw is hugely complex across the whole industry. So we do take some of those core components and core platforms and tools, and we've designed one-day workshops around those to really help to get people immersively trained in that for a day, and that will help people to upskill and walk away with that kind of base learning. So we're running those with large enterprise organizations that we're working with. We've also opened these up into opening up to the public, so you're very welcome to come and contact us around some of the one-day workshops that we do, and come and join those when we have those running through the various different time points throughout the year. We're just going to touch upon a couple of stories now as a storytelling component, I guess. And I just want to share these because, you know, if you're kind of thinking from your own standpoint, if you are looking to reskill and, you know, to retrain and learn again, and depending on what kind of stage you're at with your career and in life, you know, this particular trainer worked with us as a business leader. She had about 2 decades of experience. So you think as a marketing and business unit director, this person would, you know, have the opportunity to have, you know, really kind of digitize with the business. And for her own skills wise as well. But as she said herself, as Hans has said, you know, 2020 completely transformed businesses, and the new digital acceleration was sticky. It's difficult. It's really, really difficult to know how quickly and where to pivot, and the time pressure was immense. So she found the programs that we created were by analysts, for analysts, and a fantastic valuable insight and toolkits to make it easier to digest. That's for the online learning there. So just really key to look at, you know, the interesting part there, that the content and training that we offer and that we can help to upskill people with was created by analysts, so created by industry professionals. and trained by industry professionals as well. So it's really fantastic for us to see this type of story from individual learners like Hansard, who took online learning, to big brands like P&G. They're also, you know, a huge global FMCG company that you'd think, you know, as Hansard said, yes, they'd have the chance to be at the forefront of a lot of digitization for sure, but if the company internally, or if it's not part of the strategy to upskill the teams effectively and efficiently, then this was the training program they took with us. Made them realize that they can actually access a lot of the data themselves. At that point in time, they were using an agency, lots, probably more than, you know, several. But this really kind of points to being able to be empowered, I think, because upskilling and building skills and learning in this space, whatever type of organization you might work for in any type of role, you're empowering, enabling yourself through that education, and maybe just not realizing that you can do so. For all those that are looking at maybe a career switch, whether you're looking to train with us or to switch role or just look at new opportunities, and remember, this is all around looking at why the MarTech or why the technology industry area is somewhere to really start considering, you know, upskilling for. Demand's huge, as we've touched upon, but also it's never too late. You know, why would it be too late? We worked with a lady called Renu last year. She did our immersive boot camp over 12 weeks. She'd had quite a long career break, and then a returning mother returning to the workforce after a break, building her family, probably one of the most important jobs that we're going to have in our lifetime. And she re-entered the industry. She'd been in the tech industry many years ago. She started her career and worked with us to get on that kickstart the upskilling journey, getting back in the game, as she referred to it herself. And now really pleased and really proud to say that she's a data analyst with the DBS. DBS here in Singapore. So it's never too late. She took the risk. She's a hugely brave person to do so, and it paid off. Sai was working with, he just recently graduated and did a degree in engineering, and moved completely changed path to cloud consulting. So about 6 weeks after leaving the training program with us, he left his academic world of engineering behind and became a cloud consultant with Extremax, and he's been there ever since and hugely happy. So again, yes, you've invested all this time and energy in you know, studying and gaining a degree in something completely different, but the switch and the deviation can really pay off, and you know, it's never too late, and why not own that change of direction. And then just moving on to some of the brands. So again, we're working with educational institutions, with travel companies, FS, and big conglomerates across the Asia-Pac region, media agencies. So they're enrolling, they're engaging with some of our training, online training and in-person workshop training, boot camps. There's a huge amount out there, and really just pointing to the fact that, you know, with ourselves and just I guess taking that risk sometimes, but upskilling is you know, it's not the risk really. You've seen the demand, you've seen the opportunity and the complexity and the amount of jobs out there and the huge skills gap. So help bridge that gap and help create opportunities for yourself through upskilling. And to help do that, final you know, kind of final call, I guess, for hopefully appealing for people to really look at upskilling and learning, and you know, if it's with Sparkline, fantastic, you know, engage with us, and there's lots of content out there that you can access to learn. For people on the conference today, you can sign up with us and take a module of your choice for $99 USD, or access our full course for $299, and that's usual price is $12.99, so fantastic offer there as well. So to take note of the link there, academy.sparkline.com/courses. You do gain your certificate of completion from Digital Analytics Association, so please you know, do you feel confident that you're kind of gaining that hands-on learning with the certification at the end, and you know, gaining some of those skills that will be kind kind of enabling you to kickstart that journey and be business ready. Do take note of the discount codes there, so you just hop onto the course and just put your coupon on there, and I believe the AF4C team will help me to distribute those after conference as well. And just diving into that learning, and then if any interest there in any of the other workshops or training or any kind of advice needed in building these skills out on this journey, to join us in the world of digital and data analysis, then please do feel free. And again, you know, this is the same curriculum and same course content that was again created by analysts and then for analysts. So let's chat. I'd love to connect with anyone that's been on the call today, in the session today, and if you've liked what you've heard, you're interested in building out career in the space, potentially you have some skills in this area and you're interested in connecting with us for future employment opportunities with our organization, or you know, any of our clients that we might hear of that are looking. Please, if you want to talk about consultation or any other enablement further training, drop us a line, info@sparkline.com. Please check us out on LinkedIn and Facebook. Follow us and drop us a message. Really happy to connect. It will be our absolute pleasure to do so. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of the conference. And I hope I've been able to offer some value and some insights into the world of digital analytics. To show the complexity of a hugely exploding industry, and then just to kind of demystify and take away some of that, maybe if it is a bit daunting, of how I can start building skills in this space. Where do I even start? And it's not as difficult. It doesn't need to be as scary as you might think. So I think that just remains for me to say thank you very much. Again, absolute pleasure being here and being with you all. And today, enjoy the rest of the conference. Happy learning, and hopefully we'll connect very soon. Thank you very much.